So what exactly did the ancient Highlanders carry as they travelled through the Scottish landscape? Well, stay tuned and I'll discuss what I think was their basic survival kit. So in my previous video I spent a night alone in the woods with the equipment of the ancient Highlander, and I tried out sleeping in the belted plaid. So I thought it'd be good to follow up with a video of what I was actually carrying and some stuff that I found in my research that what the Highlanders would have actually carried. I'll explain the video first in terms of Dave Canterbury's 5 C's of survivability, as I found it very interesting how travelling people and cultures all around the world carried basically those 5 elements. So the main cutting tools of the ancient Highlanders would have been a skean and dhu and the dirk. Now the skean and dhu is still part of the modern kilt dress, and it's the wee knife that is often worn in the sock or sometimes in the jacket. The name skean and dhu means black knife in Gaelic, so skean knife, dhu black, and it was either called that because it was often used for black deeds, so it was a hidden weapon to sort of hide away from your enemies, or often the handle was made from black bogwood, so that might be why it's called skean and dhu. So the dirk was a larger knife, like a long dagger, and it was a weapon but also a multi-purpose tool. So far I don't have a decent skean and dhu and dirk part of the kit. I'm still waiting to find or make one that I can actually use and abuse in the field. The stuff that you buy is normally just ceremonial stuff that's very delicate. So I'm still working on that as part of the kit. So in terms of combustion devices, they probably would have carried the flint and steel. The flint is clachéine in Gaelic, which means something like the firestone, and the steel is stalin. If they didn't have flint to hand, then they may have carried quartz or some other hard stone. Now for tinder, they probably would have carried the horseshoe fungus, or amadou made from the horseshoe fungus, and that is spongen in Gaelic. And they potentially could have carried a char tin with charred cloth, punkwood, or various plant materials. Now the main cover element was the belted plaid itself, and I've done a video on that, and in the previous video I actually slept out in it. But they probably would have also carried wool blankets. They're very, very versatile. They could be worn as a cloak, again added to your bedding. So wool blankets and the belted plaid was their main cover element. Now in terms of containers, metal was generally quite an expensive thing. Maybe later on into the 18th century people might have had tin pots or iron pots that they could take out in the field, but generally metal is pretty expensive, and a family would only have a few big iron pots that they would keep at home. So out in the field they probably would have mainly carried a wooden bowl or a wooden cup, and that was mainly used for drinking from the stream, making porridge, collecting wild edibles. You could also potentially boil water with hot stones. In terms of cordage, people in the Highlands used to make cordage from a whole host of natural materials, from nettle fibres to willow bark. They used to make rope from heather that they used to tie down the thatching of their roofs or to tie up their boats. So while on the move, I would have guessed that they would have carried a small amount of cordage on them, made from some sort of natural material, maybe nettles or willow or leather or sinew. But from some of the stories I read, the colour of the cordage may have been important for different ceremonial purposes. For example, the colour yellow is associated with the celebration of Beltane. I also read that they would sometimes carry red cordage that they would use to make small crosses made from small rowan branches that they would tie to the tails of their cattle to sort of ward off bad spirits or bad fairies. So that's the basic 5 C's of survivability covered, but what else might they have carried? Well, this is my sporran. A sporran basically just means purse in Gaelic, and it would have been used to carry their everyday items. The sporrans that you see in the modern day kilt dress are very, very ornate with wee dangly bits and stuff like that, but the people of the Highlands, it would have just been a very basic pouch made of leather. I made this one out of an old leather jacket. I also made the tinder pouch. If you're interested in making this, I found this on a template online, so I can give you the link below if you want to make one for yourself. And in here I have a variety of stuff that I think that the Highlanders may have carried as they were travelling through the landscape. Now probably their main food that they would have brought with them would have been oatmeal, and it may have been carried in a small cloth bag like this. But other food they may have carried is bannock bread, or maybe cheese, dried meat, dried fish, things like that. But oatmeal was generally the stable carbohydrate. And here I also have another piece of spongen, as in the horseshoe fungus, to help carry my fire or if I need some more tinder. I have a small bag of salt that I could use to flavour my porridge. I can use to dry out some meat to make jerky, dry out some fish, lots of things. So in here I also have an iron blanket pin, which is actually an incredibly useful tool. I can use it to attach my plaid across my shoulder. I can use it to turn my wool blanket into a cloak. The pin of it I can use as an awl if I need to make myself another pair of leather shoes or make some containers. And the circular bit I can use to make a makeshift tripod if I want to cook something over the fire. Now the people of the Highlands were also very superstitious people, and they believed that if you carried a piece of iron on you, then that would help keep away bad spirits or keep away the bad fairies. So this also counts as my piece of iron. I have a leather thong that I can also use to tie my plaid. A little spoon that I can use to eat my porridge. And the only other thing I'm missing from this kit would have been a little leather flask of whiskey that they would have used for social or medicinal purposes. So thanks so much for watching, everyone. I really appreciate the interest that this series has got so far. Please share any knowledge that you may have in the comments below, and I'll be back with another video as soon as I can. Cheers everyone.